Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Journey Success Stories podcast. I'm Jennifer Shuffle, your host, and today I have with me Marcus O'Malley. He is the owner and director of Caring Excellence. Welcome, Marcus.
Thanks, Jennifer. Appreciate you having me on the show.
Absolutely. So happy that you have taken the time out of your day to educate us about Caring Excellence. So, today we're going to be talking about his business, his journey to business ownership, and the challenges, but also those best practices that he's gained along the way. And really to share a sneak peek into really what is it like to build a business, operate a business, and really to pour his heart and soul into our beautiful community. Now, if this is your first time to the show, make sure that you like and subscribe because we want you to get notifications just like this one when we have new conversations drop. So, Marcus, of course, welcome to the show and thank you so much for being here today. I would love for you to tell us about yourself, a little bit about your background and how you got to where you are, and what is Caring Excellence?
Sure. Yeah. I'll go back a bit. I actually started as an entrepreneur out of college. I had a tech business, marketing business, and so built websites and helping people with their branding and customer service, kind of all of those things. And it was actually my mother-in-law who started Caring Excellence in Louisville 14 years ago, and I designed her first logo, and I helped her with her website. And she was an RN at the hospital, and she didn't know a whole lot about business. So I was able to sort of coach her along, help her understand how to launch a business. So I was watching kind of that journey from afar in the tech space. My wife helped my mother-in-law, so she did scheduling, and so she was a lot more entrenched in the day-to-day operations of Caring Excellence. And so I was on a technical journey. I was part of Papa John's, Paychecks, and led technical teams through the corporate world. And it was about a year and a half ago that I really felt like my corporate journey was finished, and we separated from Paychecks. And it was in watching Caring Excellence being built that I really wanted to know what it was all about, really see what the company was all about. My mother passed away 4 years ago,
Oh, I'm
and
sorry.
thank you. Being on that journey of kind of watching dad, seeing my siblings in Virginia, kind of on that care journey that really broke my heart for people that are taking care of mom and dad. And so knowing about Caring Excellence, really wanting to do something meaningful, my wife and I talked and we decided to dive in. And so we launched Caring Excellence in Florence, taking the values, the quality of care that Caring Excellence in Louisville was doing to Northern Kentucky.
Awesome. So tell us, who is Caring Excellence? What all do they do?
Yeah, we really care about the seniors of Northern Kentucky and their caregivers. A lot of times it is the children of those seniors that is feeling that season of life, that mom and dad are slowing down, things are getting harder, memories are changing. And what I like to tell people is I like to give memories and stories back to you. I want you to sit with mom and have a cup of tea and tell a story. I want you to hang out with dad and take him to lunch, not be doing laundry, not be doing the dishes, not doing some of the personal hygiene things. And that's where Caring Excellence comes in. You know, our team can help 24/7 and not just staying the night, but actually having active team members throughout the night. If dad gets up at 2 o'clock in the morning, our team member is ready, awake, alert, helps dad get safely to the bathroom, can help with personal hygiene, cleaning diapers, adult diapers, helping with some of the non-medical pieces of medical care. That could be even making sure that they took their medicine on a daily basis and keeping log of that, helping the kids on a day-to-day basis know what's going on. It could be rides to appointments or time with friends. My dad has Parkinson's. He can't drive anymore. And so we have a lady that helps him get rides to his lunches, to his doctor's appointments midday, so that my siblings don't have to be the ones to take off work every single week. And as we all know, there's more and more appointments later in life. And so getting that help, getting that assistance is huge. So
Yeah.
that's what we do. Help with anything and everything that you can do, but can't do.
Yeah, I love that because as we become caregivers and become that person for our parents as they age into this beautiful season of their lives, being able to have somebody there to really help us through that journey, but even be more educated than just going through the motions and trying to figure it out. So, what does it look like as you start to really help these families? Like, do you ease into it? Is it something overnight? I'm sure every case is different, but kind of give me a little bit of, hey, this is kind of how we work.
Yeah, so the answer is yes. So we have clients, and that's one of the advantages of working with Caring Excellence. We have no minimums. And so we are very flexible to start at the very earliest time of your care journey. So we have some families that mom just wants some help with a shower, a couple times a week. And, that's hard. It's hard for them to ask their children to help with something personal and practical like that. It's hard sometimes for the kids to take time out of every day, a couple times a week. And so we can step in on really small points in the journey. One, that gives value to the families, helps maintain dignity for mom and dad, helps the kids not have to do something like that. It also helps introduce us to the family. And sometimes that's hard for mom and dad to think that they need help or to ask for help. But we become a familiar face and we become part of the team, and we're just there to help. We're not taking their independence. We're not taking anything from them. We're there to help. And maybe a vacation that the kids want to go on and they're the caregivers or giving mom or dad a break, a little bit of respite. So coming in on a short-term stint to help, all the way up to mom and dad just had a fall last night. We're completely overwhelmed. Things have escalated significantly. We need 24 help. We can jump in at either point. We're a 24-hour business. We react very, very quickly. We hire on purpose to be able to respond to urgent needs. And so we are, ready and willing to hop in and much faster than I think people realize, when they're in a pinch.
That is so beautiful. So, how big of a team do you guys have in order to have this flexibility in order to just pivot on a dime like this?
Yeah, so the Northern Kentucky organization just started last summer. So we're growing. We're closing in on 20, team of 20, just from last summer. But we also have one of the biggest organizations in Louisville, 120 employees, as well as Lexington and Southern Indiana. And so we, even at a loss sometimes, we'll make sure that we take care of the families. So we can pull from our Louisville offices and kind of juggle and make sure that we care. So it allows us to not say no. It allows us to be able to help in a pinch, manage that family. And we're continuing to grow. Like I said, we've grown to about 20 employees total since last summer, and we're continuing to grow from there.
Yeah. So, is the team a bunch of RNs, or I guess, are they certified? I guess tell me a little bit more about the intricacies about your guys' team.
Yeah, so we are not non-medical, and so we do hire without certification, but we do ongoing training. We provide training annually, onboarding training, and then we continue to upskill as our team members continue to grow with us. And what we say is, we're less worried about the experience and more worried about people that genuinely care about people.
Mm.
We can train you how to care for people. We can't train you how to care about people. And
Yeah.
so we really hone in on finding people that genuinely care about seniors, probably have done it either in their own lives or professionally.
Mm.
And then we'll continue to upskill them from there. So they are doing things like a Hoyer lift, helping them take medication. But as I said before, it's typically anything that you would do or could do, but can't do. So it's the non-nurse, non-medical piece of things. We do have, though, nurses. We do have former EMTs that join our team, and they just genuinely care about people. And so they have their 40-hour work job, and they do that. But this is just joy for them. This is the thing that they love to do. It kind of gets them out of the kind of like the corporate, background. It sort of gives you that freedom one-on-one to just genuinely care for people. You don't have the office and the bureaucracy piece of things. You just get to sort of love seniors. And so a lot of our team are really just passionate about them. Some of them it's second careers. They were teachers and they sort of stepped out of that role, but they just really do care about people and they love the freedom and flexibility that we allow our caregivers to have, and just genuinely caring for seniors. So it's a really, really passionate group. They love doing it, and we've got a variety of skills. We match the need, some of those later in life ones to those who are skilled, who have used Hoyer lifts. But sometimes it's just companion care. Mom just needs a ride to some appointments. Mom just needs help, around the house, light housekeeping, meal prep. And those people that are passionate just enjoy it and love it. And I think the families really feel that from our team members.
Oh, that's beautiful. So, what has been, because of course, you guys are a business, but what has been your guys' number one challenge so far as a business and being able to do what you do?
Yeah, that's a great question. Honestly, the need is so vast. It's really just keeping up with hiring the caregivers. We hold to a very high standard to what we hire for. And so, I would rather have less clients than hire the wrong caregiver. These folks are
Mm.
going into people's homes, into senior homes. And so honestly, the challenge is finding enough people that meet our high standard. And so that really is probably the biggest challenge for the business, but it's not something I would change as far as holding that standard. Like I said, we really just want to create and provide that safe environment for mom and dad, really reliable people, our team making sure that they show up on time. Our team stays, and covers those 24-hour care. We do not leave, we don't step away. And so finding those people with really high integrity that genuinely care is probably one of the bigger challenges. But they're out there, there are so many people, which is beautiful. And it's just been encouraging over the years to kind of see that continue to grow in each of our locations. And now us starting to see that in Northern Kentucky.
Oh, that's so beautiful. So, tell me, when we get into business, there are things that happen, these really cool things that allow us to do something more than we even never even thought was possible, but really gift us with some beautiful aspects of life that we never even thought would come with it. Can you explain to us maybe something that has been a great return that you've gotten now as a business owner that the business has allowed you to do and maybe go a whole nother level you never thought was possible?
Yeah, I told you I come from technology and product management, and so customer experience is a huge part of my life. But it's always been a little separated, right? It's been surveys, it's been, kind of at scale, national programs, that kind of thing. Getting that personal touch. And actually, if it's all right with you, I was going to read the feedback from one of my clients. And this was one who had been with two competitors. And so they came in very discouraged, very concerned about the industry, a lot of questions. And they said, heartfelt thank you to Caring Excellence. Dear Marcus and Sarah, my wife is Sarah. Your company has been a godsend for my parents, and I want to express my sincere gratitude for the assistance and care that you and your team provided my 88-year-old parents. Your professionalism, kindness, dedication have made a meaningful difference in my parents' daily lives and has brought great peace of mind to our family. I'd especially like to thank Megan for her sweetness and compassion. Her gentle manner, patience, genuine care has not gone unnoticed, and that has meant so much to my parents and to me. The two of you have gone above and beyond for my mom and dad, and our family is truly grateful for your support. Thank you and all the best for you in 2026. I'm sure my mom and dad would agree that Caring Excellence was above and beyond. What a very fitting name for a company. And I've got thank you notes that I keep on my desk, just that reminder, and it just kind of energizes me. And I think families have no clue how meaningful those little gestures are to us, but it fuels us. Our reviews and thank you notes, really knowing that at the hardest time in life, nobody prepares you for that. You and I were talking before the show, and I'm sure we'll after. Nobody prepares you for that, and a lot of people aren't talking about it unless you're in it. And so you're completely blindsided and it's overwhelming. There's so many emotions your own having. There's so much that mom and dad are going through. And so for them to take a moment to say thank you or send us a note, it just fuels us and means the world to us. And we give it all back to our team. They are the hands and feet out there in the homes, but we always are trying to feed back to them and keep them encouraged and keep them going because, it is a hard business. It is very hard emotionally to be in the midst and deeply entrenched with families and go through these hard times. But it's incredibly meaningful to be a part of
Yeah,
that journey with them.
yeah. Well, thank you for sharing the note. I will honestly tell you, I have Post-its around my computer screen, and I even have a kudos book of like thank yous, testimonials, just all sorts of uplifting things. Because as much as I'd love to say every day is just phenomenal and great, sometimes you let that little committee come in that just wants to tear you down. And so looking at the letters and everything really builds you up. So definitely continue to hold on to those and push you through because what you guys do is absolutely remarkable. So, that being said, what is the span that you guys have in Northern Kentucky? Because you did mention Lexington, Louisville, and we have some other areas, but what is the Northern Kentucky area composed of?
Yeah. So we, our footprint is primarily in the big three, right? Big three counties. But we tell people we won't say no, and so St. E's will call us. We do have several clients in Grant County. We've got one in Pendleton, and so we say, hey, let us talk. We've got to be able to get a caregiver to where you are. It's got to be kind of worth their time, because we are compensating them, and we do need to make sure that they're able to take care of their family. So what we say is, obviously in the big three. But if you're out of reach, or you feel like you can't find somebody, we would love to talk to you. Our goal is to help people. And so we're not looking to, but we do have to obviously be able to get a team member to you. And we want to make sure that, we would rather under promise and over deliver than be like, oh, I think we could, so call us. We love to talk to you if you're in the Northern Kentucky area. We also have a Lexington and Louisville office, and that's on purpose. We want to be able to cover. And so sometimes, we might be able to find a way to, get some team members from one of the other offices, depending where you are. And so, we'd love for you to call us. We try to be as flexible as we can. And we understand, there are challenges in different geographies. So we want to be able to at least have a conversation and see if we can help.
Excellent. So, if somebody does need your services or they start to realize things, and I'm sure these things kind of pop up when you're spending more time with one another, maybe at the holidays. And I know we'll come
Mhm.
back to this,
Yeah,
but what does it look like? Is it, let's start small? I know some it's all in,
yeah.
but is there like a pricing sheet? Or I guess tell us a little bit more as to what do those next steps look like for you guys?
Sure. Yeah, we meet you where you're at. And that can be economic things, that can be how much care is needed, that can be the situation. So we meet you where your need is. So what that looks like is giving us a call. We're 24/7. I can put my number and my wife's number in the notes. You can text us or call us anytime. We can come by and visit with mom and dad. We can come by and meet you with mom and dad and have a conversation about what we may think or may guide you to recommendation, or if you're like, hey, this is what I think we need. We have clients that are just a couple hours a week. We're just helping them with the basics of a shower and some basic hygiene needs, up to 24/7 care. Closing in on looking at need around the clock, and where it may be looking toward hospice or things like that. So we will meet you where you are, what the need is of mom and dad. We can come and help with the safety assessment in the home.
Mm.
We could cover for a vacation a week or two. If the general caregiver might be out or needs some respite, we can cover that. What it looks like price point wise is, obviously the shorter shifts, we have to pay our caregivers a little bit more for their time. And so, once you get to about an 8-hour shift, it drops down to one of our lowest price points, and then 24/7 drops. It's about 29.75 is our, sort of 8-hour and above, a couple
Okay.
of dollars more, $33 an hour down to about 4 hours. And then those sort of really small shifts, we'll have to look at where you are geographically and that kind of thing, a couple of dollars more per hour. We are not a franchise. And what that means and why that's important is that a lot of people are paying anywhere from 6 to 10% of their revenue for that logo. We don't have to do that. We don't put it in our own pockets. We're actually one of the highest paying in the state of Kentucky. We pay our caregivers more, and we also keep it in mom and dad's pocket. So we don't charge quite as much as the competition, but you're not getting less. You're actually getting more for less. And that's because my mother-in-law started the business on her. And so we want to keep that brand. We're just a genuine company that really cares about people and want to keep that high quality, that high standard. It also allows us to hire a different caliber of person,
Yeah.
at that price point. And so we're really able to put high quality people in there without it hurting mom and dad quite as much.
Yeah. So does Medicare or Medicaid help with anything, or what's that look like?
Unfortunately, no. In the home care space, it's just not something that the government has addressed yet. So we are all private pay or long-term care insurance.
Hmm.
Our veterans do have access to some VA benefits, and so that's something that we can help direct them to. If they are a veteran, we can direct them to get some help and look into those types of things. Long-term care insurance, we can also guide them and help them our software. We use a very modern software, and so our software allows us to track, and so we're very easily able to help them and guide them to ensure that they're getting those long-term care benefits, which some insurance companies can make it challenging, as you're probably aware.
They're not the friendliest group to try and get care from. So, yeah,
Yeah, so we know how to, navigate that, and we can help guide our clients in that piece.
excellent.
Yeah.
So, where do you see the business 5 years from now? Like, perfect scenario, what does it look like?
Yeah, I mean, we want to continue to grow. The Louisville office is one of the biggest ones, and I think it's because, and they've done it entirely without marketing. They've done it by hiring good people and taking good care of people. And that's the brand that we want to continue into Northern Kentucky. I see us expanding probably into Ohio. I know there's a big need in Indiana. We've opened a Southern Indiana office. St. E's and others have told us, about the need across the border to our neighbors. So it's a different licensure to move into a new state, but that's something that we hope to do over the next 3 to 5 years and continue to expand the brand. We really believe we're doing something a little different than those that have done it before, and so we want to continue to bring that value and that level of care to some of those unreached areas that I feel like there's a big opportunity for.
Excellent. Yeah, I was expecting like Virginia and West Virginia just because somebody might kind of be from there.
Yeah, I'm from Virginia. I'd love to do it. I've got a lot of family back there. It's something that, would give me a great excuse to get back to that side of the country. I think definitely I want to head that way. And I've got some friends in Chicago. So, it could be something I expand just because of my nature, like this is fun. It's fun to help people. And so if I can see family while I'm doing it, I'd love to expand into those directions. Yeah,
Yeah. Bonus. I mean, dream big, my friend. Let's do it.
absolutely. Yeah, I'm down.
Yes,
10x is faster than or easier than 2x, right?
absolutely it is. Yes. So, what kind of time frame or thoughts or sounds like you guys have already been kind of talking about maybe more across the river. What are you guys kind of thinking in the next year or two, or what are you kind of thinking?
Yeah, I'm hoping by 27 to be in Ohio at the latest. Yep, yep. No, I'm hoping maybe the next 6 months. We'll see. I tend not to think slow. And then Indiana, I just want to think it through a little bit more, just because we've got the other office. So just sort of thinking about the map of our office versus
Yeah.
some of our team, and we have a great relationship with the other locations. Actually, my wife's twin sister in Southern Indiana, my brother-in-law in Lexington. So it is truly a family business. And then, I kind of want to see where it goes from there. I've got eyes on Northern Indiana and Chicago, just geographically very close. And I want to see what it looks like to launch one from afar. That'll be a new kind of learning curve versus, obviously Cincinnati will be us, just expanding that way. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, I have thoughts on Virginia and some other areas, that might be in that later, probably 3 to 5 range. But I see the next 2 years probably being the next, bordering states at least.
So, who's helping you think through that growth and to make sure that you step through it appropriately?
Yeah, I mean, I have a good team. I have some folks that have done franchising, my Papa John's relationships and Yum brand days. Some teams that have said, hey, when you get to 5, give me a call. And then when you're looking at 10, it's a different conversation.
It
And
is.
so I've been blessed to, through my corporate relationships, build a lot of that scaling branding. And I've done it on the international level as well. So I don't know that we'll get there. We'll see. Um,
Yes, you are. You just said
I
it.
think the need is absolutely there. I've got the relationships that have done the international side of things and have helped sort of coach people launching businesses in Europe and Middle East. So it's something I'd like to explore, and we'll see the timing.
Yeah. I also know somebody else that can really help with that too,
Oh,
and would be
absolutely.
more than
Yeah.
happy to. All right. So, unfortunately, this is going to go way fast, and it has been already. So, as we start to wrap up, which wah, 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 I have a couple of rapid fire questions to
All
kind of
right.
keep it fun. Are you
Yeah.
ready?
Let's go.
All right, excellent. What is the key to success for you?
I think optimism and persistence. I would say those are kind of the go-to duo. I think, just staying optimistic, it's an easy thing as an entrepreneur to get pessimistic, to see the flaws, and just feed off of those thank you notes and feed off of those moments that matter. And then just persistence. I think, I'm tenacious. Failure is just a bump in the road. It's just fun, fail forward. And so I think we live a lot in optimism and persistence.
Excellent. Love it. What is one piece of advice you would give to other business owners?
Oh, that's good. Um, I think, if you genuinely care about each of your customers, things will go the right way. So, do the right thing and then let the chips fall where they fall. But I think they're going to fall, into your hands. And I think if you just really treat each client well, focus on that, do the right thing, and it will end up in the right way.
Excellent. So, what is a book or podcast that you're reading or listening to right now?
So, my Northern Kentucky ambassador mentor just gave me "Make Your Bed," and it's a very short. It's just about a 2-hour book by an admiral talking about just holding people to a high standard and holding to a
Mhm.
high standard. And that's sort of the concept is the military made them make their bed.
Yes.
And I have really fed off of that book. I missed it somehow. I can't believe that it had never been encouraged before, but I've been loving that. I just read that last week. So.
Yeah, it is a good one. Well, and it gives you that sense of accomplishment. No matter what the day throws at you, if you just make your bed, check, I accomplished something today. So,
Absolutely. And I love the soldiers that were singing, it's sort of the worst day. It's kind of that optimistic, it's like hey, it was the worst day. They're on that death march and it's like they just start singing and, they just sort of press on, it's like, who
yes,
cares? Good.
right.
It's a bad
Yes,
day. Good. Like that's going to make me stronger.
exactly. I had somebody actually at Thanksgiving when we went around talking about what are you grateful, thankful for. And she said the hard times and the challenges, because it actually, that's where all the learnings come from. Failure is the best, most beautiful thing because when you have those hard times, it's the opportunities that come out of that.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I love to not say take this away. I don't want that to go away, but like why am I in this thing? What can it teach me? What can I learn from this scenario? I don't want it to just go away. I want to grow. I want to learn from it.
Right. So here's a fun question for you. If you had a little bit of magic dust that you could sprinkle over a part of the business, what would it be and why?
Yeah, I think I'm feeding off of the last question, maybe, but I would say nothing. Like I'm in this moment, and we're working very hard. We're hiring good people. We're making good relationships and treating everybody well. I think we're in this moment, on purpose, and we're just gonna continue to work at each area of the business, rather than skip a step of that grind.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be having more people coming to you that are more than willing to help our beautiful seniors through this season.
That Yeah, and I think that will come because we're treating people well and we're taking good care of clients. Yeah, I'd love to make it happen faster, but I also know, it's gonna come because we're doing the right steps.
Yep, things happen for a reason, and he puts
Absolutely.
things in our path at the right moment and the right
You
time.
got it. You got it.
So, before we get into the final question of the day, please share with our audience how they can get a hold of you guys so that then they can go ahead and tap into you for their senior and to help them through this season that they're enduring as well.
Absolutely. So I'll leave my cell phone and my wife's cell phone so you can call us directly, and we'll leave our line and our website. So you can reach us anyway, email, phone. We're 24/7. We'll be in touch very shortly thereafter. And yeah, we would love to chat. There's no pressure sales from us. We just want to talk and guide and help people Several people have called us. They've had families out of town and just been able to be a resource to give them guidance and help on what they need to do. And sometimes mom and dad aren't ready for help, and we're happy to talk with you about what that conversation could look like. You know, how we have helped families get more comfortable with having a team member in. So they're welcome to reach out to us. You know, we're very active on social, email, phone,
Yeah.
the website. So we'll leave that, drop that with you, and maybe you can leave it on the channel for them to reach out.
So what is it? Is it caringexcellence.com or
Oh, yeah, caringexcellenceathome.com.
okay.
Yep. And yeah, 859-212-3224. That'll ring both Sarah and I's phone.
Okay. Excellent. That's why I was like, go ahead and say it,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
we'll always post it as well.
Perfect.
So, well, thank you. Awesome, Marcus. All right. So, final question of the day.
All right.
What is most inspiring to you today?
Yeah, I think it's our clients' children. You know, I think it's those caregivers that are working tirelessly for mom and dad. I have one that they're no longer clients. You know, they finished their care journey with us, and we still stay in touch. And I'm inspired by her and by the children that are really just love mom and dad and give everything for mom and dad. And I just love coming alongside and being helpful to them and giving them a little bit of reprieve and helping them through a very scary, intimidating time. But they don't back down. You know, they love mom, they love dad, and they passionately are pursuing the best possible care. And so they keep me fired up.
That is awesome. Oh, that's so beautiful. Well, this was a great conversation, and I greatly appreciate you coming on and telling us about your journey, but also what you guys do for our community. So, thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you so much for having me on, and thank you for what you do. You keep the business community driving and sharing these stories, and just love your passion for the community and entrepreneurs.
Oh, thank you. I love that. So, of course, everyone who's watching, I encourage you to, of course, go back and write down that phone number because you want to give Marcus and Sarah a phone call. So, if you're in that season, or even if you're just thinking, I don't know what this may look like, or you have more questions than answers, go out online, pick up the phone, get some conversations going so that then you can figure out what works best for you. Because not everybody's in the same type of scenario as another person. It's not cookie cutter. And that's why I was so grateful that Marcus agreed to come on to share with all of you. Of course, make sure that you like and subscribe so that you can get additional notifications when we have new conversations and episodes drop, just like this one, because we need to lift up our community and go to that whole next level and be there for one another. So, of course, Marcus, thanks again. And it was such a special episode. And I greatly appreciate you and Sarah and everything that the two of you do, not only for our seniors, but for our community as a whole.
Thank you so much for having me on, and ditto. Appreciate you.
Thanks.